Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees. It is June 26th. Our first order of business, of course, is the Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight we're going to be led by a fourth grader from Pleasantdale Elementary School. Her name is Mia Vari. She's here tonight with her dad and the principal, Matt Vanderkar. Mia is a fantastic fourth grader, he says, at Pleasantdale Elementary School. She works very hard and is kind to everyone in the building. The smile you see on her face is constant, and I've seen that already. In school, Mia's favorite subjects are reading, art, and math. In her spare time, Mia loves to read with her family and cook. She loves gymnastics and dancing hip-hop. Mia loves spending time with her little sisters, Sophia and Giada, and her little brother, Vito. So, Mia, if you'll do us all the pleasure of your honor of have you come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Anytime you're ready.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. And it's not on the agenda, but I do have to point out that Matt Vanderkar, the principal of Pleasantdale Elementary School, this is actually his last month as principal in Burr Ridge, and I just want to welcome him and wish him the best and give you a round of applause, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Francis.
Here.
Trustee Model.
Here.
Trustee Pabeza.
Here.
Trustee Martel.
Here.
Trustee Snyder.
Here.
Trustee Schiappa.
Here.
Mayor Straub.
Here. And now we have the Police Department's commendation for Officer Timothy Lesniak. We have our Police Chief, John Madden.
Good evening. Mayor, Board of Trustees, it's an honor to be here tonight in front of you to award Officer Timothy Lesniak this department commendation. Tim is here with his family, his wife Maggie, and his son and daughter are there in the third row back. And I'm going to read straight from the commendation itself. On Friday, April 28, 2017 at 2:33 a.m., Officer Timothy Lesniak was on patrol in the area of Illinois Route 83 and Mockingbird Lane when he saw a large amount of smoke and fire coming from an apartment complex located in unincorporated DuPage County. Officer Lesniak alerted Tri-State Fire Protection District and the DuPage County Sheriff's Office of the fire and proceeded to investigate. Officer Lesniak was able to alert the residents of the building of the fire and gain access to the second floor apartment where the flames were coming from on the balcony. He used a fire extinguisher from his vehicle to douse the flames until the firefighters arrived and took over the scene. Officer Lesniak's attention to duty and quick actions were vital to protecting the lives of the residents of this complex and in preventing further property loss. I, Chief John Madden, award Officer Lesniak this department of commendation for his exceptional display of professionalism and judgment under a stressful condition. Incidents such as this remind us that we have a very fine police department composed of truly dedicated officers and civilians. So it's my honor to award Tim. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always great to see everyone in uniform here as well. Now we have the section for the residents' comments. Are there any residents that would like to address the board at this time? Okay, seeing no one, let's move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or a citizen so requests, in which event it will be removed. Under minutes, we have 5A, approval of regular board meeting of June 12th, 2017. 5B, receive and file draft scavenger franchise agreement subcommittee meeting of June 12th, 2017. 5C, receive and file draft plan commission meeting of June 19th, 2017. Under ordinances, we have approval of ordinance amending the Village of Burbridge Personnel Manual adopted by ordinance number 661. 6B, approval of an ordinance amending section 8B2 and N of the Burbridge zoning ordinance to revise the special use listing for wine boutique to include live entertainment, Z07-2017, text amendment B1, district county wine merchant. 6C, approval of an ordinance granting special use approvals pursuant to the Burbridge zoning ordinance to extend the hours of operation and to permit live entertainment for a wine boutique, Z07-2017, 208 Burbridge Parkway, County Wine Merchant. We have resolutions. 7A. I'm sorry, 7B. Adoption of resolution recommending denial of DuPage County Zoning Board of Appeals petition Z17-9900 South Route 83 Lorig Construction Company. 7C. Removed. Officially removed. 7D, adoption of resolution appointing an authorized delegate and alternate delegate to the South Central DuPage County Benefit Pool, the SCDCBP. Under considerations, we have 8C, approval of plan commission recommendation to approve subdivision fence approval of variations, PCO2 2017 Burbridge Club. We have 8D, approval of plan commission recommendation to appoint Jim Brolin as vice chairperson of the plan commission for a one-year term expiring June 26, 2018. 8E, approval of recommendation to award contract for installation of plow equipment, a Public Works Unit 31. 8F, approval of recommendation to award contract for purchase of replacement for a Public Works Unit 30 dump truck with plow. 8G, approval of recommendation to award contract for police squad car equipment installation. 8H, approval of recommendation to appoint trustee Alpaveza as the mayor's alternate voting delegate to the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference for fiscal year 2017-18. I, approval of recommendation to appoint Evan Walter as the administrator's alternate voting delegate to DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference for fiscal year 2017-18. And J, approval of recommendation to appoint J. Douglas Pollock as the village's representative on the DUCOM Board of Directors. K, approval of recommendation to appoint J. Douglas Pollock as delegate to the Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency, otherwise known as IRMA. L, approval of recommendation to appoint Evan Walter as alternate delegate to the Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency, IRMA. M, approval of recommendation to appoint J. Douglas Pollock as the village's representative for the DuPage County Community Development Commission, CDC. N, approval of recommendation to authorize revised road closures and sign placements requested by the Burbridge Park District Foundation for the Pedal the Parks event on Sunday, September 10th, 2017. O, approval of request from the Flag Creek Heritage Society for donation from hotel motel tax funds for the Robert Veal House Museum. P, approval of vendor list in the amount of $438,440.32 for all funds, plus $213,753.65 for payroll, for a grand total of $652,193.97, which includes special expenditures of $13,772.10 to Kramer Tree Specialists for imidacloprid soil injection, easy for you to say, in May, $75,437.25 to the State of Illinois Treasurer for the German Church Road Pathway Project. May I have a motion to approve the following items on the consent agenda? 5A, B, and C, 6A, B, C, 7, B, and D. Considerations, 8C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, KLMNOP.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Scalpa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Baveza?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
6-0.
Consent agenda items are approved 6-0. First on the agenda is under resolutions is 7A, consideration of resolution adopting the prevailing wage rate for laborers, workers, and mechanics employed by Public Works of the Village of Blue Ridge, Cook, and DuPage counties.
Yes, enclosed is your annual resolution that the village is required to approve each June. The State Department of Labor requires that all laborers, mechanics, and other workers employed in any public works projects undertaken by the village be paid at the prevailing wage rates for construction workers in Cook and DuPage counties. And the schedule of the rates is included. I know that this is not something that you like to do, and so I didn't put on the consent agenda so that you could have an opportunity to raise your concerns.
Trustee Beza?
This is an item that over the years I've really had a problem with. I looked at it a little bit, and it's pretty well split. 20 states do not have prevailing wages, and the rest do. Those that support it seek to prevent public construction projects from destabilizing a local construction industry. Opponents of the prevailing wage law suggest that such laws hurt free market competition and cause to escalate on public projects, as many calculations determine the prevailing wage rate tend to identify union wages and benefit as a benchmark for these so-called wages. Like I said, there's nothing the village can do. We're forced by state law to abide by these, basically what are union wages. But again, something that the state does. But for villages and municipalities, it basically adds 10 to 30% to any project that we send out to bid, which I believe is wrong, but unfortunately, that's what our politicians in the state have forced on not only Burr Ridge, but every municipality in the state.
Anyone else? I think 10 to 30% is a little underestimated, but based on my own research on this a couple of years ago, it was probably 30% to 40%, and could be. If it was,
A lot of that depends on the size of the job, the bigger
Absolutely.
the job, and I wouldn't doubt it would even go higher, especially if it's heavily on labor in that particular job. Unfortunately, I don't want to do it, but I move we adopt a resolution.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion? As much as we don't like it? Roll call, please.
Trustee Baveza?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Scalpa?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. And now we're to the resolutions regarding adoption of resolution of appreciation, recognizing retirement after 27 years and 10 months of dedicated service to the Village of Burr Ridge of Mr. Steve Stricker. I will give Trustee Paveza the first opportunity to say something, because I know he wanted to remove it from the consent agenda.
As a trustee, I believe I have worked with Steve the longest. Over the years, I believe two things were instrumental in the success of Burr Ridge. Both things needed to work together. Burr Ridge has had very capable and qualified people serve as trustees. These trustees, over the years, had the best interests of the village at heart. To carry out the wishes of the mayor and trustees, we needed a very capable village administrator. Over the years, we have had very good debates on an assortment of ideas and plans. In these debates, Steve also had the best interests of the village. He looked at it one way, the board another. After a lot of debate, we arrived at a plan, and he instituted that plan. Steve also was instrumental in helping the board put together a very capable staff. I just wanted to say thank you for a job well done.
Trustee Yapa?
I also want to thank Steve for your dedication for 27 years. Steve's been able to corral staff members, department heads, contractors. He's been able to work with 5 mayors, hundreds of trustees, and put in over, I'd conservatively say 100,000 hours to this village to make it from a special place to the very special place that Burr Ridge is. So thank you very much, Steve.
Anyone else? Trustee Francis?
Yes, thank you. I first began to work with Steve in 1997 when I was appointed to the Plan Commission, and then subsequent to that as a trustee. I don't know if Steve remembers the first time I ever talked to him on the phone. It was probably 1990 or 1991, and the landscaper for Ambriance had dumped some mulch along 79th Street. It had been sitting there for a couple of weeks, and it started to ferment and heat up, and smoke was rising. I said, Steve, what do we do about this mulch that's sitting here on the side of the road? That's smoke's rising. You know, it might catch fire. It might spontaneously combust. It's starting to degrade. And he says, no, nothing's going to happen. Don't worry about it. But you know what? Steve followed through and took care of the problem. And the mulch was just spread around and dispersed like it should have been. It shouldn't have been sitting there. But it was just an example of how Steve, no matter what the request was, he would follow through, because his wealth of knowledge, his attention to detail, and his fairness will always put the village residents and the village first in his mind. And he will certainly be missed, but he won't be forgotten. And his shoes are being filled by a very capable Mr. Doug Pollock, who is equally dedicated to the village. Steve, thank you for all of your service, your dedication to the residents of this village. Certainly appreciate it.
Trustee Snyder?
Steve, as a resident for 30 years of Burr Ridge, I want to thank you for the job well done. It's not a fun job that you do, debating with trustees and mayors and everyone else between all of our wonderful individuals of Burr Ridge. So thank you.
Trustee Model?
Steve, I've had the pleasure of working with you for about 10 years now on the Economic Development Committee. I've enjoyed every moment of it. You're professional. You get the job done. You always have good information prepared for us to make good decisions. And again, as a lifelong resident of the village, I've certainly enjoyed your hard work in the village here and the good things you've done for us. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy your retirement very much. Some fun days ahead.
Steve, as a resident, I have seen your name on the village brochures for the last 20 years, and I have seen the village grow a lot, and from talking to you, I realized that you're very passionate about, what you do, and I'd like to thank you for a job well done and helping Burr Ridge become what it is today, and I wish you all the best for retirement, lots of fishing days, and good times with your family.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'd like to add on to that. You know, the first time I really got to know Steve was the day after I got sworn in, or maybe it was the day I got sworn at, I forget. But in any case, we took the bus down to Springfield for the drive down for lobbying, and that was my first indoctrination to the whole DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference, and we got to know each other, and it was really, I thought I knew a lot of people in Springfield, but I think he knows more. And he was very instrumental in helping getting the bridge built right out of the gate when we went a separate direction than everybody else, trying to get the bridge approved, get funding. And thank goodness our legislators, who were friends, both of ours, came to our rescue. Thank you, Christy Rodonio and Jim Durkin and Patty Belloc and the rest of them. So, but as a new mayor here, there was certainly a learning curve, as it is for anybody, because it's going from trustee to mayor. There's a big jump, and he's the one who gets to see firsthand. So I'm sure he had an impact on educating a lot of previous mayors. I've certainly appreciated your education. your bantering, your ability to debate and stick by your guns. We haven't always agreed on everything, but you've had some great ideas and great leadership. And I don't think this village would be what it is today if it wasn't for your strong leadership. And you really have helped make it a special place. And think about it, the village is 60 years old, and he's been the village administrator almost 50% of the time the village has existed. So you made quite an impact, indelible impact, a permanent impact, and I want to thank you as well.
Thank you.
With that, I'd like to read aloud the resolution which we are going to vote on next. Resolution of appreciation recognizing retirement after 27 years and 10 months of dedicated service to the village of Burr Ridge, Steve Stricker. Whereas Steve Stricker has provided exceptional service to the village of Burr Ridge since August 28, 1989, that was 2 months after Evan was born, I think, and will, on June 30th, 2017, retire as the village administrator. By the way, he did that calculation. Whereas Steve Stricker's extraordinary career in public service began in 1982 as administrative assistant with the village of LaGrange, progressing to the acting village administrator in 5 short years. And whereas Steve Stricker accepted the challenge of village administrator with the village of Burr Ridge in 1989, rapidly leading the village to a highly professional and progressive status. And whereas Steve Stricker, since joining Burr Ridge, has worked with 7 presidents, mayors, and over 30 trustees, promoting tremendous growth and change in the village, coordinating the creation of several commercial and residential developments, too numerous to list here. Most notably, the Burr Ridge Village Center, coordinating the construction of the Bedford Park water main extension, bringing Lake Michigan water to our residents and businesses, establishing and working with committees and subcommittees to promote both commercial and residential growth and prosperity within Burr Ridge, and strengthening the financial health of the village by preparing the village's first 5-year operating and capital improvement budget, resulting in the receipt of the Government Finance Officers Association Award for Distinguished Budget Presentation. And whereas Steve Stricker, over the years, has actively participated in 10 civic and governmental organizations, including Illinois City Management Association, DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference, Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency, known as IRMA, Intergovernmental Personnel Benefit Cooperative, the IPBC, South Central DuPage County Benefit Pool, International City County Management Association, and Burr Ridge and Hinsdale Rotary Clubs. And whereas Steve Stricker, by virtue of his 35 years of dedicated public sector employment, has provided outstanding service to Burr Ridge residents over the past 27 years and 10 months, has brought to his position the qualities of dedication, integrity, loyalty, and hard work. And whereas residents and businesses in Burr Ridge are urged to recognize Steve Stricker's exemplary service and contributions to the village of Burr Ridge. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and board trustees of the village of Burr Ridge, DuPage and Cook Counties, Illinois, that Steve Stricker shall hold a place of high esteem in the minds and hearts of the residents and employees of the village, and has offered our sincere gratitude, congratulations, and best wishes on the occasion of his retirement after 27 years, 10 months of service to the village. Adopted this 26th day of June 2017 by the mayor and board of trustees, approved by the mayor this 26th day of June 2017. Be it resolved, the resolution is hereby delivered. Congratulations. I suppose we're supposed to vote on it. All those in favor? No, roll call. Oh, sorry, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those favors, fine.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
The ayes have it. Again,
Thank you.
congratulations. This is the longest resolution I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
really. I didn't write it.
And as long as we're here, would you like to say a few words?
Well, actually, I've got about a 45-minute speech on Friday, and I don't want to kind of ruin it, no, really, but as I will on Friday, I'd like to just thank all of you for your kind words, and it's been a great run, and I've talked to a lot of the village administrators, and, you know, they've complimented me on, you know, my longevity, if nothing else, and I appreciate all the support that I've had over the years, working with 7 different mayors, actually about 35 different trustees of the village. And, you know, it's the one constant, I guess you could say, you know, over the years, I remember all the old times and all the old trustees and you know, people would walk in the room and you wouldn't even know they were a trustee 20 years ago, but I do, you know, and I remember, you know, all the issues, all the debates, you know, all the consensus building, you know, to get us to where we're at today in the community. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Steve, and we'll look forward to the party on Friday. And by the way, that was totally ad lib because he had no idea it was being taken off the consent agenda. And that's why he tried to slip it in there and to go off unnoticed, but that wasn't going to be had by this board. So, okay, moving on. We have consideration of scavenger franchise agreement subcommittee recommendation to approve requests from certain homeowners associations to opt out of the village's scavenger franchise agreement.
Yeah, so we gave the homeowner associations up until June 15 to request board approval to opt out of the village's existing franchise agreement. On June 12th, the franchise subcommittee reviewed 7 applications and recommended approval to allow these 7 subdivisions to opt out. They include Lake Ridge Club, Pine Tree, Brian's Chasemore, Oak Creek Club, and Fieldstone Club, all going with Groot, but with a separate contract that would probably will, in all cases, be less than the base contract. And the reason why that's in place is because these associations collect the money and Groot just charges or pays or just sends one bill, excuse me, to the association. Plus, these associations don't have landscape waste. And so those two things combined save a considerable amount of dollars for the hauler and obviously allows them to provide them with a lower contract. There's one subdivision, the Savoy Club, that decided to stay with Republic Services. They have an existing contract with them. And early on, as we discussed, we did not want to have a situation where homeowners were paying more under our agreement than they would under the existing agreement that they had. So really, Savoy Club is the only homeowner association that won't be with Groot for the time being. But it's understood that when their contract expires, that they will allow Groot to match the price of their existing hauler. If they do so, it's expected that they will use Groot going forward. And I expect that will be the case. Now, subsequent to our meeting on the 12th, I did receive an additional 2 applications, one from Chestnut Hills and also from the Burridge Club, and again, they are staying with Groot as well. I would recommend that the recommendation of the Scavenger Franchise Agreement Subcommittee to approve opt-out applications for these homeowner associations be approved. Guy, would you have anything to add?
Just a couple things. We did have some criteria for the opt-out. You just couldn't call up or fill out the application and say, we want to opt out because we think we can get a better price. These homeowners associations had to have an existing contract in place by as of last January 1st, 2017. So, and they had to submit a written copy of their contract as well. And in certain instances, they can get a better price because, as Steve mentioned, the homeowners association will receive one bill for 20, 40, 60 residents. One check is written, one payment is made to Groot. So there's an economy there because if it was 80 homeowners like in my subdivision, there'd be 80 bills and 80 checks or 80 electronic payments to track, 80 pieces of paper that go through the mail to the resident. So there's an economy there. And it's not that the other point is that it's not that the homeowners associations, the developments don't generate landscape waste. They do. It's just picked up and disposed of by their landscape contractor. They pay their landscape contractor to dispose of it, as opposed to paying the waste hauler. So they do pay for landscape waste removal, just not with the waste hauler. It's their landscape contractor that they pay to haul it away. So that's all I had to add. Thank you.
Anyone else like to add any comments? Trustee Snyder?
Trustee Franchise, I think you did a fabulous job on that contract. So in these associations want to opt out for whatever reason, I think what you did is just, you and your committee did a great job.
Thank you for the kind words, but it was the hard work of staff and the committee members, and I appreciate all of their hard work and dedication to the idea. And as the idea gained momentum, we worked harder and brought it to the finish line. So it's the hard work of staff and the committee members. Thank you, though, for the kind words.
Anyone else? Do I have a motion to approve 8A?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Paveza,
Yes.
Trustee Snyder,
Yes.
Trustee Scappa,
Yes.
Trustee Matel,
Yes.
Trustee Model,
Yes.
Trustee Francis,
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. 8B, consideration and recommendation to award contract for repair of air conditioning units for the Village Hall.
Thank you.
David Preissig, their Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. In summary, before it gets worse, the air conditioning unit outside needs to be repaired. During a routine and scheduled maintenance inspection, it was found that one of the two compressor circuits had failed entirely and that the second one was leaking. Now the chiller outside has the two circuits. One operates at all times. It alternates to the other one so that one doesn't get overtaxed. It can operate on both when the temperatures demand that additional cooling capacity be had in the village hall here. But with the one completely failed and the second one already leaking, it's recommended to do that urgently and now before it completely fails and it becomes an emergency situation in the buildings without air conditioning. Our maintenance contract that we started back in November provides the as-bid labor rates and material rates. So the contract itself is already established at the best prices for the village. And while it's unbudgeted, we believe adequate funds are available. There are some other projects that were planned over at the PD and at Public Works that can be deferred or at least reduced in cost to cover the additional expense. The contract as it would stand, as quoted by our maintenance contractor, is $16,934. The work is anticipated to last about 3 to 4 days. During such time, we've got Spot Coolers, which is a Burridge company here, providing 10 portable air conditioning units to provide that air conditioning for this boardroom during the meetings that are scheduled, as well as our staff over in the offices. Answer any questions.
Trustee Francis?
Both units have to be down at the same time to perform the service?
Correct, because the one is leaking, the other one is down completely, they'll both be out.
I'm sorry. Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions of,
After the service, how long are the units supposed to last before the next one? I mean,
Okay,
is this
sure.
routine, or is it like, it's repair?
This is a repair. A unit, this is 30 years old. It's original to the building, so it
Wow.
is at its about service life, but it is in good condition. So the techs have advised that it is repairable and then should last 3 to 4 years after that, at least.
You mentioned some other projects that you could defer or reduce. Anything we should be concerned about, or it's under control?
No, so over at the police station, they've had some air conditioning and heating issues, but our contractor has been pretty persistent in trying to track those things down and seems to have stabilized the situation without much further expense. We've got some software upgrades to the building automation system that'll be going on in the next month or so, and that should stabilize it further. Again, we've saved a little bit on the painting of the village hall and the municipal campus here and across the street, so that came in under budget. So we believe some of the funds are adequate.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? We have a motion to approve 8B.
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Pavasek?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
6-0.
Motion passes 6-0. Under other considerations for announcement, deliberation, and/or discussions only, no official action will be taken. Anything to be added? Hearing no one, any additional residents who would like to address the board at this time? Reports and communications from village officials. I do have one thing to add. There was a very special event last night. Burridge resident and Burridge business owner was inducted into the Smithsonian Institute this week. The official event was last night in Oak Brook. It's called, his name is Mac Dougal. You might have heard his name. He makes dresses and gowns. He's done them for Miss World, Miss USA, Miss America. He is well recognized for all of his altruistic, philanthropic things he's done. But he has a permanent display at the Smithsonian Institute. It has to be the only person in Burridge, I would think. Yes. It was quite an honor. He's of Indian descent. He and his family, of course, but they had representatives from 20 countries that were there last night. It was just a great event, a great thing for Burridge, and I thought the residents should know about that. So, congratulations, Mac Dougal. Now we're on to the section for non-residents. Are there any non-residents that would like to address the board this time?
Good evening. My name is Dolores Cizek. I'm a former trustee. 3 things I would like to touch on briefly. I would like to remind residents of the concert this coming Wednesday, the 26th, by the West Suburban Concert Band. This is in LaGrange Park at Memorial Park, and that's on LaGrange Road, just north of the shopping center. It starts at 7 o'clock. The second thing is an article that ran in the Tribune on the 14th of June pertaining to all the taxing units in the state of Illinois. As I was going to get this copied, but I didn't get a chance to get it done, maybe the next meeting. But the point is, where is all the money going? To prop up a broken, bloated government. Illinois has nearly 7,000 units of government, more than any other state. Even California, with almost the triple the population of Illinois, has at least 2,500 fewer taxing bodies than the state of Illinois. So I don't know if the General Assembly, they can't come up with a budget. Maybe eventually in the next decade they'll come up with a way to fix this. The other item pertains to 8B on tonight's agenda about repairing the air conditioning. I always find the boardroom to be very cold. It's cold in here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe we have one more non-resident wanting to address the board.
Mayor, trustees, I'm the attorney representing Warwick Construction. You guys voted on a denial of the petition in DuPage County this evening. I was at the meeting last week. It was my understanding that vote was going to be based on a denial if we didn't adhere to the performance standards of Burridge. I did send some information to Doug Pollock on Friday regarding our adherence to those performance standards. And I also, just right before this meeting, actually, just 10 to 5, we did get our, he indicated that the concerns were the noise, odor, and emissions. We did just get our noise report where we asked our expert actually to address Burr Ridge's general standards, and he did within that report. I did forward it to Mr. Pollack, but he probably, I mean, he must have got it at like 5 o'clock, so I'm sure you guys have not had an opportunity to take a look at that. The reason why I came tonight is just to let you know that that occurred, and to let you know if you guys have any questions about that use, any other concerns about that use, we are available to answer those questions. We are up on Thursday this week regarding that petition. So if you want to get, I mean, I've been in communication with Mr. Pollack. If you want to get questions to him, or if there's anything we can do to answer questions for you, we are available.
Thank you. It sounds like there's new information. Sounds like.
We just got our expert reports in. So we did have some general information for him last week, but we actually have the reports now. So we did send him the reports, and we have I don't know that it affects you. He said we do have a traffic report, but he indicated what the concerns were with the village had, and they were more with the noise level and the emissions levels.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the village has great procedures for coming back on things that were voted down. But I'm sure Doug Pollack will be able to help you steer through that should it be necessary in the future.
Yeah, and I understand it was a recommendation to DuPage County.
And your name, please?
My name is Jason Doran. I'm with Momkis McCluskey Roberts.
Jason Doran?
Doran, D-O-R-A-N. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, looks like there's nothing else on the agenda tonight. Again, I want to thank everyone for being here, joining us tonight, and for especially for Steve Stricker's final board meeting. This is pretty historical, and I'm sure that he'll always remember it. And now you have it permanently recorded. Yeah. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Scalpa.
Yes.
Trustee Snyder.
Yes.
Trustee McCall.
Yes.
Trustee Cavazza.
Yes.
Trustee Model.
Yes.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
6-0.
Thank you again for joining us. And next meeting, Mr. J. Douglas Pollack will be our new village administrator.